The Grand Council of Zephyria had never seen such unanimous agreement. 17 species, each representing billions of souls across the galaxy, raised their appendages, tentacles, and crystalline formations in perfect harmony. The vote was cast. Humanity would be eliminated. Ambassador Thexalon of the crystalline hegemony pulsed with satisfaction as the resolution passed. The humans had grown too bold, too unpredictable. Their expansion across the Outer Rim territories threatened the established order that had maintained galactic peace for 3 millennia. "The human infestation ends today," declared High Counselor Vraktar, his reptilian features twisted in disdain. "Deploy the 7th Fleet. Make it swift." The assembled delegates nodded their various forms of approval. Humanity's 37 colonial worlds would fall within a standard galactic month. The species that dared to challenge the Council's authority would serve as an example to any other upstart civilizations. Admiral Zethkor commanded the most formidable armada ever assembled. 2,000 ships, each capable of glassing a planet, moved toward human space with mechanical precision. The 7th Fleet had crushed rebellions across 12 sectors. Humanity would be no different. The first strike came at dawn on New Terra. The colonists barely had time to send a distress signal before orbital bombardment began. Within hours, the agricultural world was a smoking ruin. The pattern repeated across 17 worlds in the first week. But something was wrong. The human response wasn't panic or surrender as expected. Instead, their scattered fleets began converging on strategic points with disturbing coordination. Their ships, crewed by galactic standards, fought with a ferocity that stunned seasoned warriors. Captain Rexall watched his dreadnought shields buckle under sustained human fire. The enemy vessels were smaller, weaker, yet they kept coming. When one ship was crippled, its crew would ram it into his formation before the reactors could be contained. The explosions took 3 of his escorts with them. "Impossible," Rexall muttered. "They're sacrificing themselves for tactical advantage." The tide began to turn at the Battle of Kepler Station. The humans had abandoned their colony there, leaving only a skeleton crew of volunteers. When the 7th Fleet arrived expecting easy conquest, they found a trap. The station itself had been converted into a massive kinetic weapon, its entire superstructure rigged to fragment and accelerate toward the attacking fleet. The volunteers stayed behind to guide the improvised weapon, knowing they would die in the process. Their sacrifice crippled a quarter of Admiral Zethkor's forces in a single devastating blow. But the humans weren't finished. Within months, reports flooded back to the Council that defied comprehension. Human survivors from glassed worlds had somehow reached the outer territories and begun organizing resistance cells. They struck supply lines, assassinated occupation commanders, and turned captured alien technology against its creators. More disturbing still were the reports of human infiltrators. The species seemed to possess an uncanny ability to blend in among other populations, learning languages and customs with frightening speed. They sabotaged military installations from within, spreading dissent among the Council's own forces. The breaking point came when Admiral Zethkor's flagship, the Inevitable Victory, went silent during a routine patrol. Search teams found it 3 days later, drifting in deep space. The crew was gone. All 15,000 personnel had vanished without a trace. Only a single message remained on the bridge display, written in perfect Council standard. "We know where you live." Fear crept through the Council chambers as more fleets reported similar incidents. Entire crews disappeared, leaving behind ships that showed no signs of battle damage. The humans had somehow learned to turn the galaxy's own infrastructure against it. Ambassador Thexalon's crystalline structure dimmed as he read the latest intelligence reports. Human agents had infiltrated the Council's deepest secrets. They knew about the hidden supply caches, the secret research facilities, even the location of the Council's homeworlds. High Counselor Vraktar's confidence had evaporated entirely. The reptilian leader now jumped at shadows, certain that human assassins lurked behind every corner. His own security forces reported strange incidents. Guards found unconscious with no memory of how they'd been subdued. Sensitive documents discovered in places where only trusted personnel had access. The final humiliation came during an emergency council session. As the delegates debated their increasingly desperate situation, the chamber's lights dimmed. On the main display screen, a human face appeared, weathered, scarred, but smiling with predatory confidence. "Honorable council members, The human spoke in flawless council standard. "My name is Sarah Chen, Colonel in the Terran Defense Corps. I'm speaking to you from Earth, which I believe you intended to glass next week." The delegates recoiled in horror. Earth was supposed to be unreachable, protected by 3 separate defensive perimeters that no enemy had ever breached. "We've been listening to your communications for quite some time now," Chen continued. "Your security protocols are adequate for dealing with civilized species. Unfortunately for you, we're not particularly civilized when it comes to protecting our own." The display shifted to show massive defensive installations that had somehow appeared around Earth overnight. Weapons that shouldn't exist pointed toward the approaching Council fleets. "Here's what's going to happen." Chen's voice carried the casual authority of someone who held all the cards. "Your fleets will withdraw to their home territories immediately. You will cease all hostile actions against human colonies. In return, we won't demonstrate what we've learned from studying your technology." High Counselor Vraktar found his voice. "You cannot threaten the combined might of 17 civilizations." Chen's smile widened. "We're not threatening anyone, Counselor. We're explaining the new reality. Your people value order, predictability, proper channels. Ours value survival, adaptation, and victory at any cost. You started this war thinking you understood the rules. We're simply playing by ours." The screen went dark, leaving the Council in stunned silence. Within hours, reports arrived that human forces had somehow appeared in the home systems of each Council species, simultaneously. Not invasion fleets, but small groups of operatives who had already infiltrated critical infrastructure. The message was clear. Earth's children were everywhere, and they were done being pushed around. The vote to end hostilities was even more unanimous than the original declaration of war. As the delegates filed out in defeat, Ambassador Thexlon reflected on the bitter lesson they'd learned. They had assumed humanity would fight like any other species, following established patterns, respecting boundaries, accepting defeat when overpowered. Instead, they discovered that humans didn't just adapt to survive. They evolved, they innovated, and they never ever gave up. The Council's pride lay in ruins, shattered by a species they'd dismissed as primitive. In trying to eliminate humanity's unpredictability, they had only made it stronger. The galaxy would never be the same.